I've seen with my own eyes people giving children of 11 years old Blackberries and iPhones and iPods. Are they out of their minds? What do they think?
Enter the Asifa, a monumental gathering orchestrated by an organization known as Ichad HaKehilos L'Toyer HaMachaneh, a name that translates to the Union of Congregations for the Purity of the Camp. This grand event had its sights on the ultra-Orthodox, Hasidic, and Yeshivish communities, with prominent rabbis from Brooklyn, upstate New York, and Lakewood promoting the cause. Strangely, it appeared that the modern Orthodox rabbis didn't snag an invite, but they too recognized the internet's challenges, but with their own take on the solution. Now imagine the stage is set, the language buzzing in Yiddish as various speakers take the podium. Among them, one voice stood out, Rabbi Waxman, a Monsey, New York rabbi who would steal the show with his remarks.
Rabbi Waxman proceeded to explain that he doesn't buy the argument that the internet is ubiquitous and here to stay. Since a generation prior, a lot of people had televisions in their homes, but were able to get rid of it and would only encounter it when, say, they went to their grandparents' house.
Even if chas v'sholom, we've already lost the 20 to 35-year-olds, and I don't believe it's so. But we don't have to lose the 0 to 20s. We can put a stop to it now. I've seen with my own eyes people giving children of 11 years old Blackberries and iPhones and iPods. Are they out of their minds? What do they think? My child is Halig. Do you remember what it was to be a child? I tell you, when I was 11 years old, if somebody would have given me such a machine, in 20 seconds, I would have been trying to explore everything on that machine. We can no longer retreat. Tonight we draw the demarcation line in the sand, and from now on we're going forward.
Whoa. I mean, whatever you think of this man, he clearly knows how to rally up a stadium full of Jews. I mean, you could feel his passion in your bones. But his very strong feelings on the matter are important because they signify the approach that he and like-minded rabbis take towards dealing with the issues of the internet.
This sentiment was not just spoken from rabbis like Waxman, but also from others who promoted the event, like the Skalena Rebbe from Borough Park and Rabbi Matisyahu Solomon from Lakewood, who echoed the sentiment that all Jews who consider themselves Orthodox were obligated to stay as far away from the internet as possible. In fact, one of the speakers, Reb Shmuel Wozner, who is a major rabbinic authority in Israel, phoned into the event and spoke in Yiddish, where he called on the leaders of Jewish day schools that were present to deny access to students whose families have internet access at home, since that one student can corrupt the entire organization. In the years that followed, numerous Orthodox schools and yeshivas implemented this policy, requiring individuals to sign declarations affirming the absence of internet in their homes. Yet, as we all understand, not everyone adhered to this commitment truthfully. Over time, some educational institutions recognized the unavoidable nature of the internet and its prevalence in modern life. Consequently, they formed partnerships with an organization known as Technology Awareness Group, or TAG. This collaboration aimed to strike a balance, permitting students to use mobile devices while imposing restrictions on specific apps, such as social media, and implementing filters to block mature and otherwise inappropriate content from the internet. Then the pandemic struck, and suddenly governments were like, hey, chill at home, or else. As staying home became the norm, I couldn't help but reflect on the fact that this was only possible because we had smartphones and developed apps ingrained into our daily lives. And this enabled us to shelter in place during the 2020 lockdowns. Imagine if we still had 2001 technology. Pulling off these lockdowns would have been impossible. We'd all feel stranded on a deserted island. The tech has become so ubiquitous now that it simply couldn't be avoided, but rather we needed strategies to navigate it effectively. What this period showed us was that by the year 2020, video calls, social media, and streaming have become so universal, it enabled governments to enact orders based on their reliance on it.
Today, the World Health Organization officially announced that this is a global pandemic.
Fast-breaking developments in the coronavirus emergency in the U.S.
Your internet has to continue to work.
The pandemic spotlighted that pure isolation isn't practical, that staying cut off from the world isn't a smart strategy, since it leaves people unprepared for moments like stay at home for 2 weeks to slow the spread. During this time, people, like myself, began to realize that the internet has both positive and negative aspects, and it is also universal to many of us. And so, maybe, just maybe, there's a way to make technology work for us without losing who we are.
Hi, thank you for watching this clip. If you'd like to see the full documentary about the Asifa, you can watch that right here.